think maybe I should start giving my actual opinion on things in the beginning of videos. I'll do like a summed up version of what I think, and then we'll do the video, and then we'll you know, give the drawn out version of what I think at the end. And there you go. Right? I think we need to have stricter gun laws. I think that there should be background check. I think we need to have a better vetting process. I think there should be an across-board, federally mandated fucking system involved to do it. Right? I don't think crazy people should have guns. And I think we should make sure that the crazy people don't have guns. Because there are people who can own guns responsibly. Right? People who hunt, people who want to protect their homes, things of that nature. Now, as far as AR-15s and all that stuff, bump stocks and whatnot and so on and so forth, I think the idea behind the right to bear arms was to defend oneself against the tyranny of the government if the government decides to go tyrannical, right? Our government is such that that ain't gonna fucking happen. Like, they just have better guns. They have jets, man. Like, the craziest doomsday prepper ain't got a jet. He certainly doesn't have a fleet. And he certainly may have a rocket propelled grenade, but, I mean, I'm just saying, like, so, like, that idea is kind of goofy to me, that we're going to use our guns against the military if the military over-mobilizes against us. First of all, the thought that the military could over-mobilize against citizenry in such a way as do that sort of thing, I don't see that happening with our military. You know what I mean? I think our soldiers would have a problem with doing that sort of thing. I don't think they'd just be good little soldiers and do what they're told. If they're told to imprison their friends and family. I just don't think that's happening. So, I mean, it's possible it could happen, but dude, seriously, if it happens, we're going to be fairly powerless to fight it. We can't fight against tanks and shit with guns. I don't care how many AR-15s you have. They got tanks. So, I don't know. It's just the idea of that is goofy to me. Call it what you will. It's my opinion. But hunting and whatnot, and home protection and whatnot, self-protection and so on and so forth, I think is fine. Do you need an AR-15 to hunt? Nah. Do you need it to protect your home? Probably not. Alright? Nobody needs a .50 caliber sniper rifle. I would love to have a Barrett .50 caliber sniper rifle. I think it would be cool as fuck to have one. And to take it out to a range and shoot targets from a mile away. Dude, I think it would be so goddamn cool. It would be amazing. Right? I might quit YouTube to reinvest all of my money into ammunition and fucking things that blow up for that fucking hobby. Like, my channel may flip formats to me just shooting things and blowing it up if I ever came into possession of a .50 caliber Barrett fucking sniper rifle. But I don't need one for any purpose other than just shoot it at things. That's it. And I can't think of anybody who's hunting anything except maybe elephants, but I think that's largely illegal. But if you're trying to kill deer with Barrett, I got news for you. You're going to blow giant holes in the deer. You're going to lose most of the meat. That's a problem. Like, and honestly, it may not even do that. The bullet may penetrate it so fast that the deer might not even realize that it's dead for minutes even. Who knows? Those things shoot with such velocity. They literally have been recorded as hitting targets a mile away. So if you're using it to protect your house and you shoot a robber with it, it's going to go through the robber, through your house, across the street, through your neighbor's window, into your neighbor. Like, it's not really a reasonable home defense weapon either. So, you know what I mean? Do we need to have access to that sort of thing? Will it help us to fight against the military? Maybe for a while. But they have tanks and planes and shit. So, you better be damn good with that sniper. Because, I don't know. They can blow up any hill you're sitting on. Just saying. So, yeah. Like, these things, I don't know what valid reason we have to have access to them. But, to limit that access, you know, it's one of those things. So I can't really say what I feel about that as an issue. Like, should they be accessible? I kind of think that guns are a tool used for a purpose. They're not toys. They're deadly. It's kind of what makes them not toys. Just saying. We put warnings on things to tell people that they're not toys so that they understand that they're deadly. Like chemicals and whatnot. And we should have the same reverence for guns. You know? People lock away their chemicals, their bleach and whatnot, so their children don't get to them. Yet leave their guns out, willy-nilly. I think that's a problem in parenting. You know what I mean? Like, God damn it, what are you thinking? So, it's a very complex issue. The reason why there are school shootings, it's an extremely complex issue. There's a lot of things going on. But, I believe that there is something at the heart of it all. And we'll get into that at the end. Tease it. Take it away, Don Lemon!
This is a sickness that has infected the country. Unchecked and unfettered gun violence. Today, 17 lives are over. 17 families are torn apart. Parents who sent their kids to school this morning, imagine that. Many people send their kids to school. Just like they've done every other day for years. They trusted their kids would be safe. Teachers went to work this morning, trusted that they would be safe in their space, in their work environment. The way we all should be safe in our work environments every day, everywhere, in our schools, our churches, our offices, at concerts, at nightclubs. Do you feel safe tonight?
Jesus Christ, Don. You're pouring it on pretty fucking thick, man. Like, dude, at any moment, you could get hit by a truck. Like, dude, it's the lottery, man. People win the lottery all the time. And there is such a thing as an unlucky lottery. Sometimes lightning strikes you. And that sucks. You know, to go out like that, that blows. Shit happens. But that's why we try to do everything we possibly can to prevent these things from happening. But this kind of tactic is...
There's another fact that we need to face. Every single one of us is just playing the odds at this point.
Yeah, dude. Every second of every day of your life, you're playing the odds that a plane won't fall on you.
The odds that in a country of 325 million souls, that we won't be the ones who get hit by the next bullets that start flying. We won't be the one that gets that phone call about someone you love who did. Your son, your daughter, your brother, your sister, your spouse, or your parent, even a friend, anyone you know. The phone call that changes your life. But with every deadly shooting in this country, the odds get worse and worse and worse.
No. I mean, no. Not really. The odds don't get worse. I mean, technically, if you want to count population loss, technically, but it's pretty marginal. It doesn't. The odds don't really get worse. They pretty much stay the same.
Are you really willing to keep playing those odds? Your life is too precious for that. The lives of our loved ones are too precious. The lives of the people in our cities and towns are too precious. Have we forgotten that life is a gift? It's a disgrace that this is still happening after Sandy Hook, Columbine, Virginia Tech, Emmanuel AME Church, Pulse nightclub shooting, Las Vegas. The list goes on and on and on. This is who we are right now. But is this really who we want to be? A country where anybody at any time could be shot to death?
Because guns is the problem. I know another factor that was common in all those situations. They were crazy people. They were people that other people had said, hey, this guy's kind of crazy. Somebody should keep an eye on him that's like, can do that in an official capacity. And shit happened. So these people were allowed to get guns, yes. And that's a problem, yes. But if they're not diagnosed as psychotic, how do we properly vet them? If they look and act like a normal person and their background checks out, they don't have any prior violent arrests or anything like that, blah, 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 because they're fucked in the head and just haven't gotten to go off yet because they don't have enough guns yet, that's a problem. Right?
And then when a bunch of people are killed and lives are shattered, we are sad and maybe angry, and then we forget and we move on until the next time, with the tragedy remaining in the headlines for even a shorter time than it did before.
You know, don't you have something to do with that, Donnie? Like, aren't you one of the headline writers? What the fuck? I mean, CNN's already doing half shooting, half Russia. I can see how fucking important this shit is to you.
So just forget politics here. This is about lives, the lives of all Americans. We need to keep guns out of the hands of dangerous people. Everyone agrees with that.
Yeah. So we should make it more difficult for everybody to get guns instead of finding the crazy people and getting them treatment. Like, yeah, that totally makes sense. No. Because we don't want to know who the crazy people are. It's not like we want to do anything about the crazy people. We want them to just go ahead and continue to be untreated and unchecked. That's awesome. It's the fact that they might get guns. It's not the fact that they might get knives or a vehicle or anything else. No. Because they wouldn't do that. Crazy people don't use knives to kill people. Only guns.
People who oppose gun control will say today is not the day to talk about it. And you know what? They are absolutely right. Because the day to talk about it was weeks, months, years, or decades ago. And yes, of course, we also need to make mental health a priority in this country. But guess what? We can do both.
Because both are the problem. Because there's so many instances of completely normal, mentally stable, healthy individuals picking up a gun and just mowing people down. There's so many instances of that. It's confounding to me why it is that we didn't think guns were the problem so much sooner. Because there's so many normal, healthy people that shoot people. God damn it.
We can do both of those things at the same time. If we don't, we have no one to blame but ourselves. This is America, people. Don't forget that. I know that we are better than this.
Yeah, I know that we're better than looking at the fucking tools that the problem uses to enact horrible things as opposed to looking at the problem itself. I also think we're better than that. But of course, here we are, and something terrible has happened, and it's something that coincides with people's agenda. So, of course, here we go.
This happens nowhere else other than the United States of America. This epidemic of mass slaughter, this scourge of school shooting after school shooting. It only happens here not because of coincidence, not because of bad luck, but as a consequence of our inaction.
I just think that there's an underlying cause that can be seen with a big number as far as percentages. I don't know what the exact percentage of mass shootings perpetrated by people who had mental instabilities versus mass shootings perpetrated by people who were mentally sane. I don't know what the breakdown is with that statistically, but I'm guessing it's a pretty big fucking number. Could be triple digits, but that might be, I mean, you never know. You know, I always give a good 10% variable, plus or minus, on anything, because you never really fucking know. So I'm guessing around 90%, at the very least. But even given that full 10%, sounds iffy to me.
What would make the Republicans want to deal with this issue? Now, Dave Jolly, who was a Republican congressman from Florida, he talked about this last night. Listen to what he said about his own party.
Let's be brutally honest about what we do know, and I say this as a Republican. Republicans will never do anything on gun control. Consider last summer you had Republican members of Congress shot and nearly killed during a softball practice, and they did nothing. After the Pulse nightclub, Democrats had a sit-in in the House. Republicans did nothing. After Vegas, hundreds injured, over 50 killed. Republicans did nothing. There are two things I would suggest tonight. First, flip the House. Flip the House. Republicans are not going to do a single thing after this shooting we saw today.
Is that true?
I wonder what the gentleman, the Democrat, is going to say to that fucking question. Is that true? Should we vote out all the Republicans?
I think Republicans will act if they are faced with the prospect of mass losses in these elections. And in answer to your question, what can be done? In a word, elections. The advocates of gun violence prevention, like myself and other groups and organizations around the country, and they are springing up and growing in number and power, need to make this issue front and center a priority in these upcoming elections. And here are some glimmers of hope, Chris. First of all, in the last election, where states had gun violence prevention measures on their ballots, 3 out of 4 succeeded in referenda. And many candidates with this issue succeeded in elections last time around. Second, even now in the Congress, one of my colleagues, Senator Cornyn, has joined me in a measure that would tighten the kinds of information that are submitted to the background check system. We need to expand those background checks. He has not yet, nor has the Republican Party, joined in efforts to expand the background check.
Right.
What is the point of expanding the background checks into medical things if you are not looking for the relevant medical things? Just a question.
But there are glimmers of hope, and we need to make this issue a groundswell, grassroots issue that really moves America.
Well, you got all of the negative momentum you could use.
And here's why I fucking hate CNN.
Senator, I mean, you're on. We are on pace for a record year this year in terms of school shootings. We're way ahead.
Oh yeah, man. It's gonna be a great year for ratings. A lot of kids are gonna die for it, but shit, you know, gotta pump that money mill. Fucking just
Of the pace from last year. And the president, who promised that we would be talking about gun laws as time goes on after Las Vegas, hasn't said a word.
yeah, because it's all Donald Trump. Because Donald Trump can wave his magic wand and not only remove all guns from people's homes and hands, but make sure that they don't get any of it anywhere. He can just, because it's all Donald Trump's fault. Donald Trump's talking about it, and you don't like what he has to say because he's not saying what you want to say. So fuck off, man. Like, shut up with that shit.
And he just tweeted now in a way that completely explains the problem. He says so many signs that the Florida shooter was mentally disturbed, even expelled from school for bad and erratic behavior. Neighbors and classmates knew he was a big problem, must always report such instances to authorities again and again. Let's write it off to ignorance, but he has to know that, one, the citizenry is not the first line of damn defense against this kind of situation. And
I remember around 9/11, 2001, around that time, might have been closer towards October, but nevertheless, around that time, there was a big movement to galvanize the citizenry. And it was hashtagged, not at that time, but it would have been now, it was hashtagged, see something, say something. Anybody remember see something, say something? Right? We galvanized the citizenry to help fight against terrorism. The reason for it was because there's so goddamn many people making up the citizenry. And they see so much more of what goes on in said citizenry than the authorities possibly could, because the authorities are not outnumbered hundreds to fucking one. Just the most asinine fucking comment.
even if all of those things had been reported in Florida, you couldn't have taken any of the weapons away from this man. You couldn't even have stopped him from getting a weapon.
No. But if the reportings had been taken seriously, and if there was a facility to which this person could be taken to where they could be properly diagnosed and properly medicated and released back into society, right? Or held so that they wouldn't be dangerous to themselves or others. If only such a thing existed. Boy, that probably wouldn't have done anything to stop it, would it? Because we couldn't have stopped him from getting a gun. All we could have done was stopped him from getting a gun. Are you shitting me?
In Florida. So what is the president talking about?
The president has blamed it, in a sense, on mental health. All of the responsibility should be on people looking for troubled young men, alienated and potentially dangerous. Well, there are a lot of those young men in our society and a lot around the world. Why does the United States of America have such a high rate of mass gun violence?
Because in many countries, those nations' youths are recruited into militias or whatnot, so, you know, it's not like they're not committing gun violence in other places. It's not like there's not gun violence in other places. It's not like that gun violence doesn't oftentimes involve children. They have stricter gun laws. And they take mental health seriously. Like, my question to you is, what is the comparison to how seriously they take their mental health patients?
The answer is very simply that, consistent with the Second Amendment, we can tighten the rules that apply to gun purchases so that there are background checks, and so that restraining orders, for example, on men who have threatened women and who are convicted of that kind of domestic violence are prevented from gaining weapons.
But let's just say, for instance, there's a man out there that's committing a whole lot of domestic violence, right? We don't want him to have a gun, because that could end badly. So, we just simply hope that his wife puts out a restraining order against him so that he won't be in the system so that he cannot get guns. But of course, if that doesn't happen, we don't fucking know, do we? Like, stupidest fucking angle to go with it. We want to be able to make sure that people who aren't mentally stable can get guns. But we're not going to bother to worry about figuring out who the mentally unstable people are. We're just going to make it more difficult for them to get guns by making sure that they're registered. Which they won't be, because we don't care to find out who the mentally unstable people are, because it's not nice to call people crazy.
These kinds of measures, their common sense, actually work. And again, The state's experience reflects it. And you are absolutely right. You made a really key point that our state boundaries are porous. There's no way that guns can be prevented from coming into Connecticut from a state like South Carolina, where the rules are so much less responsible, and we are at the mercy of the weakest states, even when we have the strongest gun laws.
And if you think gun laws are going to eliminate the black market, you can think it's going to make it impossible for bad people to get guns. Oh, okay, we want to make sure that if somebody's gun gets stolen, they're legally responsible to report it. Except, of course, they just fucking might not. And what happens? The gun gets used in a crime, and then they're fucking held legally responsible. But nevertheless, damage is done! It's just like, dude... How about we make sure that the crazy violent criminal types get fucking dealt with somehow? How about that? Come the fuck on. And why is it happening so much more recently now? Oh, I don't know. Let's look at some hard numbers. Let's look at some fucking facts. Alright, so this is an article I found. It's excerpts from a book that was Out of the Shadows, Confronting America's Mental Illness Crisis. This book was written in 1997, so this is kind of interesting. I'm telling you right now, I doubt the numbers are improving. Just saying. We're not going to read the whole fucking thing. We're going to skip to the really, really, really important part. And here it is. Alright. This table, it shows the states. It shows the patients in public mental hospitals December 31st of 1956, we'll call it, in the 50s, right? This is how many people, patients in mental hospitals. Patients in public mental hospitals on the same day, 1994, right? As you can see, far smaller numbers, right? Here's the actual deinstitutionalization rate in percentages. As you can see, we got 98, 95, 96, 95. It does get better. So 72 in that state. You got 82. I guess that's not bad. 65. That's good. Still more than half. But still, that's very, very good. Another 90. 75. 78. It's getting better. 72. Oh, shit. 61.3. That's the best you got. Delaware, 61.3. Look at you. For a grand total average of 82%. Right? Now they adjusted those numbers from the 50s to reflect the population of 1994, right? And as you can see, the numbers got bigger, but not grossly. I mean, it's not like hundreds of thousands. I mean, there's 100,000, but that's New York. So, you know, this is what we're talking about. But the percentages, the deinstitutionalization rate percentages, all jump up into the fucking 90s. 65%, Florida, you thought you were fucking kick-ass, right? 90.7, motherfuckers. It's been a long time since 1994. A long fucking time. In 1994, it was 91.3%. I shudder to fucking think of what the goddamn number is now. And we're going to say that mental health isn't a problem. Because it seems to me that in Rhode Island, there's 63 mental patients. They're missing a lot. Right? Right? Like they're missing what? 4,000 some? It's a lot of fucking crazy people, man. That should be dealt with in some way. And I'm not saying just fucking throw them all into institutions. No. Treatment works a long way. There's a lot of good drugs out there. But we need to know the people that need the drugs. And it's up to the family members of those people to make sure that they're getting help. If you think your child's troubled, you should maybe take him to a doctor. You know, maybe rudeness for the safety and well-being of society towards your kid is a thing that we need. Maybe as parents we need to be fucking realistic and actually pay attention to what our kids are fucking doing. I mean, I'm just saying. There was a lot of people that said a lot of things about this kid. This could have been prevented. But having gun laws that make sure that when he walks into a place to buy a gun, they're going to do a background check into his medical history. If he has no medical history, You're looking for nothing. And that's what you're finding. And he's walking out with a gun. It's going to be just as easy for kids to get guns. It is. Range age limit, whatever. Gun laws need changed. Absolutely. It's fucking crazy, some of the shit that's on the books as far as gun laws are concerned. Ridiculous stuff. Ridiculous stuff. So that definitely needs an overhaul. I'm fully in favor of that. And do I think it's realistic that people have AR-15s and whatnot, and I'm using that for home protection? Nah. You're using it to play around with. It's a toy for you. You're not a very responsible gun owner. Just saying. Like, come on. But that's not entirely my decision to make. You know what I mean? It is an amendmented right. And when we start playing with those amendmented rights, people get it worked into their head that those can just be played with. And I think that those should be sacred. I think that we should have the right to an attorney. You know what I mean? Representation in court, all that sort of thing, freedom of speech, all the rights. I don't think that they should be played with lightly, right? Especially when all we really need to do is get the 4,000 people in Rhode Island, or who even knows how now, but those people need to be dealt with in some way, medicated, but at least known about. Right? We're going to look for mental patients, but not know where they are because we don't know who they are. Well, that's awesome. Come on, man. You're putting the fucking carriage before the horse. And it's stupid. What they want to do is they want to get elected. They want to make this a big fucking ordeal so that they can say, you got to vote out all the Republicans. And Donald Trump's got to go. Because he doesn't want to do anything about guns. He wants to do stuff about people with mental problems. And that's not a problem, because what the problem is the guns. What? But there you go. That's my thoughts on the fucking guns versus mental illness. I'm definitely for the overhaul of the gun laws. I think that, yeah, we should definitely be vetting people better. But I also think that we need to have something to find when we go to vet people. And if we don't know you're crazy, we don't know you're crazy no matter how hard we vet you. So, unless you're going to be talking about opening up people's fucking Facebook, you know what I mean? But, I mean, how? If I owned a gun store, somebody came in to buy a gun, I'd probably Google them. You know, like just... But, you know, probably wouldn't sell a lot of guns that way. Like, business decisions need to be made too. So, yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ. But we need to know what we're looking for. We need to be able to find the things that we're looking for. And we can't find the things that we're looking for if we're not fucking looking for it. So, yeah, I'm kind of in the middle on this. Surprise, surprise. I definitely think that we should pay more attention to mental patients, and I definitely think that we should be finding out who they are, and I definitely think that we should be looking into that when we decide to sell people guns. Fuck it. It's just the whole discussion. It's all just smoke and mirrors. The Democrats want to get elected. They don't want Hillary to lose next time, or Oprah, or whoever the fuck it is that they push. They don't want them to lose, and they're going to fucking try and get as much power as they can off of this. Off the corpses of children. Yeah. Great.